So, thank you for joining us tonight for our Ecofriends Transforming T-shirt program here at Oakland County Parks and Recreation's Red Oaks Nature Center. We do have some upcoming programs that are kind of related to this program, including our Build a Native Pollinator Hotel, which is another one of our programs with virtual instruction. That one's going to be available for pickup starting April 30th until May 14th with the live Zoom instruction on May 14th. And we're going to be learning about Michigan's native pollinators and how to use natural and reclaimed materials to help bees by creating an insect hotel. The only thing that kit requires is a Phillips head screwdriver, which is not included. We also have a simple nature journaling kit, which is going to be our self-led kit for this season, and that's going to be available for pickup in June. Our Earth Day 2021 Restore the Earth program is coming up on Saturday, April 24th. In the afternoon from 3 to 4 p.m. We're going to be talking about restoration efforts and simple strategies for living green. We're going to take home another craft that's going to be using reclaimed or natural materials.
Woo, Earth Day.
We also have another fun crafting camp for kids. We'll be going on this Saturday for 3 different Saturdays in June, the 5th, 12th, and 19th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And it's going to have a nature activity and a craft related to each day's theme with different themes for each of those 3 days. You can register for one or multiple of those days. Today's projects all involve t-shirts. Some interesting things about t-shirts is that it takes about 2,700 liters of water to make a single cotton t-shirt, which is enough water for one person to drink for 2.5 years. The average consumer bought 60% more clothing in 2014 than they did in 2000, but each one of those pieces of clothing they kept about half as long. So we are using more t-shirts as time goes on and not keeping them for a very long time at all. The total life cycle footprint, carbon footprint of a t-shirt is about 2.35 kilograms of CO2 emission, which is about the same as driving your car for about 35 miles. Over the past 20 years, the amount of clothes, again, that Americans have disposed of has doubled from 7 million to 14 million tons, or around 80 pounds per person. And the EPA reported that 84% of these unwanted garments made their way to landfills and incinerators rather than being recycled or reused. And all of those textiles that have, or t-shirts that have been put into the landfill take up to 200 or more to decompose.
Wow.
So it is important that we are reusing our t-shirts until there's nothing left of them. So tonight we're going to be bringing new life to our old t-shirts in 5 different ways. We're going to be using a t-shirt as a pillow cover, and this is one that you can do with a t-shirt that you maybe don't want to cut up or destroy in any way. It's just one that you don't manage to wear very often, but you still think it's pretty cool. You can take the t-shirt right off your pillow and then end up wearing it, the next night. We're going to be making a reusable bag with one of our t-shirts. We're going to end up with a few parts left over. And with some of those parts, we're going to be making a drawstring sleeve bag. And we're also going to be making t-shirt yarn or tarn. It's an actual word. And then we're going to be using that tarn to make either a bracelet, a headband, or even a belt. You can use it the same way that you use regular yarn as well. So there's no reason to pay money at the craft store to get skeins of yarn when you've got a some t-shirts in your closet that you haven't worn for a while.
Which we all have.
Go ahead and get started.
Amanda, I'm glad you're doing the crafts. I'm not too crafty myself. I'm looking forward to this pillowcase, though. Something I might have to consider.
So we're gonna start out in the kit. There are 2 t-shirts. A pretty small kit this time. There's a button, a single hole button. And there's a t-shirt sleeve. And inside that t-shirt sleeve is a pre-threaded needle with thread. Right. And there is a piece of t-shirt yarn, so you get an idea of what I'm thinking about. And it's got a safety pin because this becomes part of our drawstring. So we'll start out with one of our t-shirts. It does work better if you have a men's t-shirt or a unisex, one that has a little bit longer of a sleeve. And then you can get your throw pillow or your pillow form. Stick it inside. I'm just going to kind of fold this, roll it. So we're going to roll the neck part of our t-shirt up with our pillow inside the shirt. Flip it over and bring the back side. Fold the front over the back in the back. And then tuck that into the sleeve. You can just make a little knot in the back. You've got a nice Phantom Fireworks pillow cover.
I like it. It's a good way to, like you said, there's so many t-shirts we all have that, you know, from one thing or another. This is a cool way to be able to display them and get use out of them for sure.
Absolutely, and it's a good way also to seasonally change up your throw pillows too. I think it's a little bit cleaner too. It keeps your throw pillow nice and clean. I mean, a lot of times we can't just throw those in the washing machine, right? So you can just take the t-shirt off, change it to a different t-shirt. And throw pillows get to be expensive. They're like $12 a piece.
For sure, for sure. You get that random coffee stain or your kid dropped a plate of spaghetti on your pillow. This is a good way to cover that one up.
Right. So for our next project, I'll take our other shirt. And for this one, we're definitely going to be needing the scissors. And what we're going to do is cut kind of in the armpit up to the shoulder, both sides, and take the sleeves off.
Good old dream cruise.
This particular t-shirt is a little wrinkly. Or you can even use a tank top for this one, since we're just taking the sleeves right off. Save yourself a step. Right, and then cut just a little bit around the neck.
Now I see that you're working with a V-neck shirt here. Does it matter if it's a V-neck or a crew neck?
It does not. You're just cutting kind of around either way.
Okay.
And then even this little scrap we can always use as kind of a cleaning rag, right? Get the most out of it. What we do Just fold this on top so that we have both of our shoulders are right next to each other, and those will become the straps for our reusable bag. And then down at the bottom, now if you're handy with a needle and thread, you can fold it inside out and just sew a seam down at the bottom. But if you're not into sewing, you can always use the no sew trick.
Oh, that sounds like a good one.
And we're just going to cut fringe all the way across the bottom. About maybe an inch wide or so, and about 3 inches up. But I'm certainly not going to bring out a ruler and measure.
Are you using a particular type of scissors just out of curiosity?
I'm using titanium scissors. I'm just using the best
Gotcha.
the best scissors that I could find in the desk drawer here. So they're not like pinking shears or anything like that. They're just a decent pair of scissors that's relatively sharp.
Okay.
Yeah, just sharp enough to get through the cloth. Then when we get to the end, we do just do a slight slit right on the side. Now that the hard part's done, we're going to take the top piece and bottom piece and just do a simple knot. Twice. And just keep doing that all the way across.
Seems almost more fun than the sewing method.
And it does go pretty quickly.
It may be a silly question, but do you find that 100% cotton shirts make better bags, or more more nylon or anything like that? Is there anything to avoid?
I wouldn't. I'm a little leery about using anything like the dry fit or the dry tech type shirts, but anything that's got a knit to it should work pretty well.
Okay.
It'll go super fast if I decide to time lapse this part.
That will be amusing. I'll look forward to seeing that. I think my favorite part of all this is, like you said, there's just maybe you got that T-shirt that you felt like you know were a medium and you got it, and no, you know 10 years have passed and it doesn't fit anymore. But a cool concert shirt or anything like that, you know, this is a really neat way to be able to keep it and still be able to admire it, but obviously get the use out of it rather than it just clogging up more dresser space.
Or even if it's a concert shirt, but you don't like that band anymore,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
You can always use things like fabric paint or Sharpie markers to redecorate it. And you know, you could even turn it inside out and redecorate it if you wanted a plain one.
Okay.
Your design does kind of go half and half now. So the front of the shirt is now the sides. So if you were to take it up, you know, and put your put your arm through the hole and carry it around, got a little tote bag.
Would you
One
say?
of my favorites because not only are you saving the t-shirt from the landfill, but you're also making a reusable bag, so you're also saving lots of plastic bags.
Mhm.
You won't have to bring home with you.
And just out of curiosity, would you say, like, I can think of a million different uses for it, but the use in my head, of course, is thinking like groceries. Maybe
Yeah.
not stable enough for some things, or would you
Oh
typically
yeah,
say?
definitely.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
you could carry. I mean, I wouldn't carry bricks in it, but
Yeah, sure, sure. Don't put maybe not put 2 gallons of milk in there, but your dry
probably.
goods. Yeah. Okay.
So craft number 3. Yes, is a repeat. Benjamin may remember this one from the That's a Wrap holiday program.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it's one of my favorites.
Yes. So this is the sleeve bag. So you could also, if you don't like the sleeve that you've got, you can, of course, use the sleeve from your t-shirt bag. And so what we do for this one is we're going to just sew straight across the bottom, or you can, if you have a little extra, you can make it like an envelope flap here and just kind of sew your pieces together. I was relating that the T and T-shirt stood for something like Tyrannosaurus Rex, or I don't know, something fun. Unfortunately, it's just the letter that is formed by the shape of a T-shirt.
I just saw a news headline said that someone has been stealing T-shirts locally in order of size. Apparently, he is still at large. That was supposed to be a joke. You're welcome. In other news, someone tried buying a camouflage shirt the other week, but they couldn't find any. This one should have a good solid bottom. This is the bottom of the loop, right? That you're still right now.
Yes.
Yeah. The bonus and benefit of having any of these different t-shirt projects is obviously they're all washable. So just throw it in the wash and good to go for your next painting.
Definitely important. Right. So then once you have the bottom all sewn up, you just turn it inside out. And then there's a small cut, and you'll use the existing hem and just poke the safety pin through and kind of wiggle it all the way around.
I will add that the safety pin trick was something I did not know about prior to our previous crafting program, and I think it was even that evening. My work hoodie, the darn cord had come out, so what did I do? I found my first closest safety pin, and yeah, it definitely makes life easier. Highly recommend.
What a difference made in your life, Benjamin.
There's that moment of grief after you pull your clothes out of the dryer and realize that all of your hoodies, everything has come apart, and you're going to be spending the next 30 minutes trying to work that little bevel through. But like I said, yeah, tiny little things, they make all the difference. I definitely like this one being that you can cinch it closed. It's a great idea. And you're just using, is this what you would consider tarn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. T-shirts on t-shirts.
All right. Then you just got a little drawstring bag. And so I realized what I think my favorite uses for my little sleeve bags is when I wash my face masks and they're all clean. So I've got a bunch of masks that match basically every outfit I own. And when they're clean and I want to keep them in my truck so I'm ready when I go to the store, I can put 5 or 6 inside here and, keep them all together and still clean and not on the floor or, in between the seats or something like that.
Oh, that's a great idea. Fantastic. And like you said, you could even, you just used a gray t-shirt here, but you could still whip out the Sharpies and totally artistic it up.
Definitely. Right.
Great.
So now we are on to our tarn. So tarn is, it's a yarn. It's made out of t-shirts. So we used it in our drawstring. We can make it with the sleeve separately, and then we can also make it with the body of the shirts as well. So there are 2 ways. One is easier if you just have a small piece like the sleeve, and then you just kind of cut in a spiral. And you're just going to cut and try to stay at the same width all the way around. And that width is about a 1/2 inch or so.
Okay, let's see. So you're not just cutting strips. You're just cutting one continuous strip all along.
Right.
Okay.
It's like if you have an apple peeler, you try to get the one piece, right?
I'm allergic to apples, so I wouldn't know too much about it, but I believe you. Honestly, Amanda, it just sitting here kind of watching you, it seems therapeutic. Especially knowing that it'll have a reuse. Oh, but you've got a pretty decent pile going there from just one sleeve.
Yeah. And it's going to get even longer because once you have it cut, I'm going to end right here just because that gets a little thin. So once you have it cut, then what you're going to do is pull on it. And because it's a knit, it's going to stretch it out even more. And it's going to make it a little more uniform in width as well. That's why you don't have to bring out the ruler.
Okay.
So all that's one sleeve.
Wow.
Magic, I did the whole shirt. So for something larger, like an entire shirt, I use this one for an example. So you would still, you could still cut the sleeves off. Actually, I am going to just cut at the armpits. You've got this one. And what you can actually do for the larger ones is cut all the way across. Okay, so this one's probably going to be a little bit wider.
Are you cutting up the side of the shirt now?
No, I'm cutting just across the bottom, but I'm going to leave just a little bit on the edge here, right? And then I'm going to turn the shirt and I'm going to cut from the edge down and kind of zigzag. So on our diagram here, the sides of the shirt, which are still attached to one another, are the red lines, and the blue lines are the cuts that I'm making. So you can see how it goes most of the way across that first line, and then we're cutting from the opposite edge most of the way across, and then alternating. The way I find it easiest to alternate is to flip the entire shirt. when I'm cutting, but whatever works for you.
And does width matter at this point?
You're just going to try to keep it the same width no matter what part you're cutting. So.
Okay.
Especially if you're trying to use this for crocheting or knitting or something where the width really does matter. You want to
Yeah, I
keep it
hadn't even
consistent.
considered that. I suppose you could reuse it for those items.
Yeah, you can use it any way you would usually use yarn. You can make latch hook rugs out of it if you want. Macrame.
How many feet do you think that you get in this method out of a t-shirt?
Gosh, that's a good question, Benjamin. We'd have to measure it and get back to you on that one.
I'm not going to be able to sleep until you tell me. So, I mean, it's obviously quite a bit of yarn, tarn, I should say, to be able to reuse. Good. I suppose this would be a good one. Shave your paper towel tube, maybe, right? So you can
Roll it up.
yeah to wrap it up on here. Yeah.
So now you've got a whole bunch of series of loops, and you're just going to cut where those folds were. So when you get to your zigzags, just have a little piece here. And then at some point, just make an end. Got a giant loop. And are we done now? Is this all the tarn that we get out of that one?
There's got to be more, right?
What step are we forgetting? You got to stretch it out.
Oh yeah, that's right. How can I forget?
And you leave enough room that sometimes it rips just a little bit. It's not a big deal. That's why we left a little extra space. We don't cut all the way to the end.
That's a lot of tarn.
So I'd say about 32 feet.
Wow.
What we're going to do is use some of that tarn. I'm going to use some of my pink. And I'm just going to braid a simple bracelet. And this is what I'm going to use the button for. That one non-t-shirt thing that came in the craft. So I'm kind of going to just measure and add just a little bit to my wrist. I'm going to double that up. And then I'm going to use a piece of the white in the middle. And I am just going to braid this. So we'll start with a tiny knot. And the good thing about t-shirts is they come in all different colors. So it's pretty easy to find whatever your favorite color is and do whatever combination you'd like. And it's the same method. You could just braid this and make a headband. You probably wouldn't, you might or might not want to use a button on that, depending on your hair texture. A button would definitely get caught in mine. You can braid it, and if you have long enough pieces, you can make a belt. You could make just about anything you can think about.
I feel like there's got to be a good way to, you could almost make like sunglass.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just kind of make the loops on the end for your sunglasses.
Yeah, I mean, those things are expensive as they are. So being able to customize however you want, different colors, that'd be pretty cool.
And then we're just gonna, again, make that little knot at the end. And then slide this through. Sometimes we go back to the safety pin. And carefully use that. Push it through. Preferably without poking yourself.
Yeah, be sure to disarm the safety pin.
Slide that through. And give it a good knot in the back. Cut off the extra. Go back to this loop. So this loop, back when I first made the knot to start braiding, where the 3 pieces come together, you just kind of slide over your button. What do you think? Fabulous?
Well, wow. Oh, more than fabulous. That's fantastic.
Right. So those are our 5 ways to reuse a t-shirt. But I did say that I had one extra one that was kind of a gimme. Is you can just cut off say about this much off the bottom of a t-shirt. And you're just going to do the stretchy thing again. Pull back. Stop. So we're going to stretch out shirt. Okay. So it's just about 6 or 8 inches off of the bottom. And then you've stretched it enough. And then you can do one of those infinity scarves.
Wow, snazzy.
Right. So those are our ways of transforming a t-shirt. If nobody has any questions, I want to thank you all for watching and for purchasing the Take and Make program. Remember to stay tuned for upcoming ones. In August, we'll be doing back to school with a repurpose with different school supply themed upcycled crafts. And that one should be a lot of fun too. And what else do we need to say?
Feel free to share if any of you folks are making take kits at home where you get creative and do some of these other unique items that Amanda mentioned. Feel free to share those on our social media. We would love to see what you create and how you utilize it.
Definitely. All right, then. So those are our transforming t-shirts, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for attending.